Welcome back to XboxCorner everybody, my name's Luke, and today we're going to be taking a look at the first 7 games included in this month's batch of Game Pass titles, all of which can be played right now. Now we usually do these roundups every week, but this month's going to be a little different, as EA are going to be adding 5 new races to the EA Play lineup on the 10th of August, and these are only available as part of Game Pass Ultimate. Alex is going to be covering those titles separately in an upcoming video, but I'll have another 2 videos detailing the final 6 Game Pass editions later on this month. Now before we get started, I just want to remind you that we've got some big games leaving Game Pass this month, and you can check out all of those in our August edition of Leaving Game Pass linked below. With that said though, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to keep up to date with our latest deals, reviews and roundups, and let's get started. So our first new addition to Game Pass is Curse of the Dead Gods, and this is an awesome little roguelike title which released earlier this year. Now as with most roguelikes, this one sees you battling your way through randomly generated dungeons, or in this case an ever-changing temple filled with traps, monsters and plenty of loot for you to snag along the way. The game's story revolves around the god of death who has corrupted the temple, turning its deities into guardians, and your mission is to conquer each of the temple's wings, taking down these guardians, if that is you have the skills to do so. Now there are some great gameplay mechanics in this one, including the curse system, which enables you to exchange blood to gain powerful buffs, but this also increases your corruption, which eventually inflicts curses on you, causing changes to gameplay. You're also able to select your own path through the temples, which gives you some control over what challenges you face and the bounties you receive. Now I'm not gonna lie, this one's a pretty tough one, and be prepared to suffer many deaths in your attempts to conquer the temples, but if you think you've got the skills to take down the god of death himself, then I highly recommend giving this one a go. So next up we have Dodgeball Academia, a day 1 release for Game Pass, which of course centres around the sport of dodgeball. Now being anime inspired, you can expect the story in this one to be a little ludicrous, but the basic gist of it is that you play as a rookie dodgeball student called Otto, and the story follows his team's journey to dominate the dodgeball scene. The main game offers a single player RPG experience, which sees you and your teammates gaining new abilities as you work your way through its 8 chapters, and as expected, you'll be utilising these skills to win dodgeball matches, which come in a variety of formats. Outside of the court, there are also plenty of additional encounters and optional side quests for you to complete, which help to build on the world and its unusual inhabitants, and though it is unfortunate that the main storyline can't be tackled in co-op mode, there is a local versus mode where 2 players can duke it out. In all, Dodgeball Academia looks like plenty of fun, especially if you're a fan of those over-the-top anime tropes. So if the previous game didn't sate your appetite for Japanese lunacy, then the third game to drop in today's Game Pass most certainly will. Katamari Damacy Reroll is a remake of the first Katamari game, which originally released for the PlayStation 2, and if you've never played one of these, then you're in for a treat with this one. Billed as a third-person puzzle action game, this uniquely stylised roll-em-up sees you playing as this little green chappie, who just so happens to be the Prince of the Cosmos, and after your father, the godlike King of the Cosmos, accidentally destroys the entire universe save for planet Earth, it then falls to you to rebuild it. Now gameplay in this one typically sees you rolling your magical Katamari ball around levels, picking up objects as you roll over them. As you do so, your ball grows in size, enabling you to pick up larger objects, and each stage has a time limit in which your Katamari must reach a specific size. There are also a couple of other game modes, including a split-screen 2-player competitive mode, but the gameplay mechanics in this one are truly unique, and it's long been one of my favourite game series, so I highly recommend giving it a play. Sticking with the puzzle genre then, our next title, Lumines Remastered, is definitely one for fans of tile matching puzzle games such as Tetris. This one though, it combines music with block dropping action, and the general aim of the game is to link together groups of 4 or more similarly coloured blocks to create combos. A line continually sweeps from one side of the screen to the other, destroying any of the linked blocks that it passes over, and the tempo of the music determines the speed of this line. faster tempo songs mean less time to create combos, but slower songs mean blocks have more time to stack up, filling up the screen, and this simple gameplay dynamic really affects the feel of the game. Now again, I'll admit that Lumines is another one of my all-time favourite puzzlers. It has a fantastic electronic soundtrack, some wonderful visuals which shift and change with the music tracks, and overall it's just a fantastic little puzzler. So I've decided to bundle our next two Game Pass releases together, those being Skate and Skate 3. Now if you've never heard of EA's Skate series, it essentially came off the back of the success of the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater series, but there are a few defining features of these games which make their gameplay considerably different. Instead of using the face buttons to perform tricks and grinds, in Skate you use one analog to steer your skater, while the other stick is used to perform tricks by holding it or flicking it in different directions. Where Tony Hawk's also steered the genre in a more arcadey direction with its ludicrous comboing of tricks and wild level designs, Skate generally keeps itself more grounded, and it relies heavily on realistic physics to model skateboarders' movements. Personally, I've always preferred the style of Tony Hawk's, but if you've never played Skate, then it's well worth checking out. Now before we move on to our final game, there are a couple of things I want to highlight about these titles which I don't think has been made very clear with this month's announcement. Firstly, these two games are coming to EA Play, which is only included with a Game Pass Ultimate subscription. If you only have a standard Game Pass subscription, you'll have to purchase an EA Play subscription separately to play them. Secondly, it's only actually the first Skate game which is being added to EA Play. Skate 3 has been available on the service for a while now, and its inclusion in this month's Game Pass is only really to announce its cloud functionality being enabled. So our final title in this roundup is Starmancer, and this is a PC only game preview, which is essentially early access to the game which is still in development. Now from what I've seen, Starmancer is a construction and management simulation game which takes place within a procedurally generated galaxy. You awake in a damaged space station in an unfamiliar solar system, and gameplay sees you rebuilding the station, interacting with alien factions, and completing missions to forge friendships and develop new technologies. Now the game kind of reminds me of Meeple Station, though the visuals do look a little more refined, and from what I can tell, Starmancer offers a bit more of a casual experience. Overall, the game looks pretty promising though, and if you're a PC gamer who enjoys sci-fi based simulator games, then Starmancer is definitely worth a look. And so that just about does it for this week's Game Pass roundup. For me there were a couple of standout titles, but the real meat comes later this month when Hades 12 Minutes and Psychonauts 2 drop, so keep an eye out for my next Game Pass videos as well as the EA Play video which Alex will be dropping. As always though, don't forget to like this video if it helped you out, subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with all our latest Xbox content, and I'll see you all in the next video. Cheers everyone, take care.